What is the absolute worst thing you have ever caught your dad doing? I was walking towards the kitchen when I noticed that my dad's door was open. I quickly peeked inside, and saw him sitting at his computer. Now I had just woken up and was pretty hungry, so I would have just kept moving, but then he clicked and all of a sudden the entire computer screen was taken up by a picture of a woman's thighs. I focused my vision, and realized that the background of the photo was the weather from the news. My dad was looking at the weather lady's thighs. He closed that image, and then opened another. Same thing, but it was a different weather lady. This time he had to zoom in on her thighs. I watched him do this multiple times. Most of the pictures were already cropped to just show the thighs, but all the women I could see were Latina. And these were some thick thighs. Now normally you might think that this isn't that bad, but the issue is that my mom doesn't have legs. She was in a bad car accident a few years ago, and had lost her legs as a result. She is now in a wheelchair, and my dad had been nothing but a perfect and supportive husband, at least from what I could see. Up until now. In fact, the reason my mom was out of the house was for her PT. I was pretty sure that my mom didn't know about my dad's obsession with thick Latina weather lady thighs, as he was doing this while she was out of the house like he was hiding it. Anyways, I moved on towards the kitchen to make breakfast, still in shock over what I had seen. I had no idea what I was going to do. Later that night, while my parents were out for a dinner date, I went in and investigated my dad's computer. I knew his passcode, but I also knew that he wouldn't just have the pictures on his computer in an obvious place. The first thing I did was check his search history. My dad, being of an older generation, hadn't conditioned himself to use incognito tabs when he was doing his dirty browsing. I immediately found searches for thick thighs, and Latina weather lady thighs. I started laughing a bit to myself, and then found this website that he had visited. It was really weird, like this whole community for people with the same obsession as my dad. He was even sort of active in the chats on the website. There were like unlimited pictures on this website. They all had download links on them. I saw one of his chat logs discussing the best ways to name folders so that nobody would open them. This allowed me to quickly find his hidden folder, which he had named system_logs. He definitely was trying to keep this a secret. I kid you not, his folder had thousands of these images downloaded. After that, I decided to log out and sleep on it. I decided that this information could be useful to me. My dad had always been the stricter parent, and now having something on him could certainly help me out in certain situations. So I sat on this intel, for like 2 weeks, until there was this party at this guy Alex's house. His parents were out of town, and he was inviting everyone who was anyone. I told my dad that I was heading to the party, and immediately he starts asking all the usual questions. You know, who are you going with, who is going to be there, whose house is the party at, stuff like that. I answered them all truthfully, although he was a bit annoyed it was at Alex's house. He thought Alex was a bad influence on me, which was probably true. Then he asked me if Alex's parents were going to be there. Normally here I would lie, but I didn't need to do that anymore. Nope. His parents aren't home right now. My dad immediately got a bit angry. You should have told me that at the start. There is no way you are going to that idiot's house with his parents out of town. I replied, I think you will let me go. It would be in both of our best interests. This just made him even angrier. Absolutely not. Do you think I'm stupid or something? I know what goes on there. I let out an evil villain chuckle, and then said, well, I know what's in your system_logs folder on your laptop. Then there was a long moment of silence, and we just stared each other down. Quietly, he says, okay, you can go to Alex's. But system_logs and its content stays between us, understood? Understood.